You know that feeling, right? That weird, silent standoff? The one where you just know you're in the wrong. You know the two simple words that could fix everything, but you just can't say them. It's this universal, almost physical struggle, like you're trapped inside your own head. Well, today we're gonna dive deep into our own brains to figure out exactly why that is.
I mean, that's really the question, isn't it? It's just two words. I'm sorry. It should be so simple. And yet, forcing them out can feel like one of the hardest things you'll ever have to do. We'd often rather sit for hours, sometimes even days, in this miserable, heavy silence than just admit we were at fault. So what is going on there? It turns out it has way less to do with being stubborn and a whole lot more to do with our brain's ancient wiring.
This description is just so relatable, it's almost painful. Just picture it. You've had a fight with someone you love. Maybe it was about something serious, but let's be honest, it was probably something silly. And now, hours later, the tension in the house is so thick you could just slice through it. You know with 100% certainty that a simple apology would just melt all that ice, but there's this little voice in your head screaming, "Don't you dare give in. If you apologize first, you lose." You can feel it, right? A tightness in your chest, a lump in your throat. This domestic Cold War. It's where our relationships get tested, and it's all because of this huge battle that's raging inside our own mind.
Okay, so to really understand this internal battle, we have to meet the main player, the ego. Now, when we hear the word ego, we usually think of arrogance, someone who's just full of themselves. But in psychology, the ego's job is actually way more fundamental. And in a weird way, it's just trying to project you. So let's kind of reset what we think we know about the ego. The best way to think about the ego isn't as a villain, but more like your mind's personal bodyguard. Its one job, 24/7, is to protect the story you tell yourself about who you are. And we all have one of these stories, right? It sounds something like, I'm a good person, I'm smart, I'm fair. The ego's mission is to defend that story at all costs. Kind of like how your body's immune system defends you from germs. Anything that threatens that story is seen as a dangerous invader that has to be taken out immediately.
So what happens when you do something that totally contradicts that self-story? Let's say you snap at your partner, or you make a dumb mistake at work. The reality is, I just did an unkind thing, or I just messed that up. Well, that reality directly attacks your story of being a good and smart person. This clash creates this state of intense mental discomfort, a kind of psychological fire alarm that scientists call cognitive dissonance. Your brain hates this feeling of being a hypocrite, and it will do almost anything to make that feeling go away as fast as possible.
When your brain is in this crisis mode, it basically has two ways out. Option one is to adjust the story. This means admitting, okay, I'm a good person, but I'm not perfect, and I just made a mistake. This is the healthy way, the path to growth. But for your ego, that's painful. It's admitting you're flawed. So more often than not, our brains automatically go for option two because it feels so much safer in the moment. Reject the reality. Your brain's logic is like, wait, it can't be true that I, a good person, did a bad thing, so something else must be the real story. And that's when we start deflecting. Well, I only yelled because you started it, or blaming. The project failed because the instructions were bad. Our brain just chooses the path of least resistance to protect our ego, even if it means damaging our relationships in the long run.
Okay, so we get the psychology of it. Our ego is trying to protect our self-story from that awful feeling of cognitive dissonance. But why does it feel so physical? The neuroscience here is absolutely wild. It turns out that to your brain, this emotional battle isn't just like a threat. Your brain sees it as a genuine threat to your survival.
If you remember one thing from this whole explainer, let it be this. When you're standing there in that quiet room, physically unable to say, I'm sorry, your logical brain is not in the driver's seat. Your ancient primal brain systems have totally taken over, and they are screaming at you that apologizing is as dangerous as spotting a lion in the grass. To understand why, we need to look at 3 specific ways your brain goes into full-on defense mode.
First up, there's something called the brain's pain matrix. Using brain scans, scientists have seen that when we feel social rejection or humiliation, which is exactly what admitting you're wrong feels like to the ego, a part of our brain called the anterior cingulate cortex, or ACC, just lights up like a pinball machine. And here's the incredible part. This is the exact same part of the brain that fires up when you feel physical pain, like when you burn your hand on a hot stove. So that sharp, stinging feeling you get when you even think about apologizing, it's not in your head. Your brain is literally processing it as actual physical pain. For our ancestors, getting kicked out of the tribe was a death sentence, so our brains evolved to treat social pain as a life or death emergency.
Then there's the amygdala hijack. Think of your amygdala as your brain's tiny, super sensitive smoke detector, always scanning for danger. Because social status was so important for survival, the amygdala is obsessed with it. When your ego senses that an apology will make you look weak and lower your status, the amygdala just panics. It hijacks your rational brain and floods your system with stress hormones, triggering that primal fight-or-flight response. In an argument, fight looks like getting super defensive, raising your voice, and just making things worse. Flight looks like stonewalling, giving the silent treatment, or literally just walking out of the room. At that point, you're not having a conversation, you're just trying to survive.
And if all that wasn't enough, there's literally chemical warfare going on inside your head. When you stand your ground, argue your point, and feel like you're winning, your brain gets this nice little hit of a reward chemical called dopamine. It feels good to be right. But on the flip side, when you even think about apologizing, your brain anticipates the social pain and releases the stress hormone, cortisol. So in that moment, you're asking your brain to choose a path that feels painful and stressful right now for some vague, maybe gonna happen benefit later. And let me tell you, our primal brains are terrible at that. They are wired to pick the immediate dopamine hit of winning almost every single time.
Okay, let's just take a breath and recap. We're fighting our own psychology, our brain's pain centers, our ancient threat detectors, and our own internal reward system. It sounds completely hopeless, right? Like we're just hardwired to fail at this. But we're not. Just understanding these systems is the first step to overriding them. It's like you've finally been given the owner's manual for your own brain. So now let's talk about how to hack the system to make apologizing not just possible, but actually powerful.
This right here, this distinction might be the most important concept in this whole explainer. It all comes down to this. Guilt is about your behavior. Shame is about your identity. Guilt says, I did a bad thing. Your ego can actually deal with that. An action can be fixed, you can learn from a mistake, it doesn't have to destroy your whole self-story. But shame says, I am bad. Now that is a direct 5-alarm threat to your ego's core story. It's not about what you did, it's about who you are. And if apologizing makes you feel shame, your psychological bodyguard will fight it tooth and nail. So the first and most critical hack is to consciously reframe the situation away from shame and towards guilt.
Okay, here's the practical 4-step game plan. First, you have to do that reframe we just talked about. Your internal self-talk has to switch from "I'm such an idiot" to "I'm a good person who made a mistake." That's it. It's a small change, but it's everything. Second, use what's called a soft startup on yourself. Don't try to go from 100% defensive to "it was all my fault." That's too big a jump for the ego. Start small. Tell yourself, okay, I can see how what I said might have hurt them, or I can understand their point of view. This just eases your brain into being accountable. Third, you have to redefine strength. The old programming says apologizing is weak. The new, emotionally intelligent definition is that the person with the guts and self-awareness to apologize first is actually the strongest person in the room. And fourth, this one is huge. You have to decouple your apology from their reaction. Apologize because it's the right thing to do for your own integrity, not as a tool to get them to forgive you. This puts all the power and control right back in your hands. And that brings us to our last, and I think most empowering idea. We've been talking about apologizing as this really hard thing we have to force ourselves to do. But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? What if instead of being an act of weakness, apologizing was actually the ultimate power move? Just let that one sink in for a minute. When a relationship is broken, when you're stuck in that Cold War, the person who steps up to fix it is the one taking control. They are showing massive emotional courage and self-confidence. They aren't the loser of the argument, they are the leader. They are the ones steering the ship away from the rocks and back into safe water. When you start to see apologizing through that lens, it changes everything. It's not giving in, it's stepping up. At the end of the day, this is the choice we have in every single one of these moments. Your ego, with its chemical rewards and its ancient defense systems, desperately wants to win the short-term battle to be right. It feels good, you get that dopamine hit, and it keeps your self-story safe. But winning that little battle so often means losing something way more important, the long-term war for human connection. You can stand alone on your throne of being right, or you can step down, walk across the room, and rebuild that bridge to the person you care.
So I'll just leave you with that question. The next time you find yourself in that domestic Cold War, feeling that tightness in your chest, that lump in your throat, remember what's happening inside your brain. It's not some evil monster. It's just an ancient bodyguard trying to protect you using a really outdated program. You can thank it for doing its job, and then, with your conscious mind, you can ask yourself this one simple question.
What do you really want more in this moment? The quick, fragile satisfaction of being right, or the deep, lasting strength of being connected? With what you know now, that choice is always yours to make.